Let's just start things off with our normal opening statement, just about the win, and it's Wagon Wheel week. So your thoughts on that as a whole?
Yeah, got in yesterday. Was able to, clean the tape up from the Bowling Green game. Really pleased, overall with the effort. Still things in a couple different phases of the game where we need to get better. Particularly special teams is one area that jumped out where the past couple of years that's been a huge competitive advantage for us. And, you don't want to see a big kickoff return there, when you got the momentum and you go down and you score. So we got to clean up our cover units. There's some things within our punt unit as well that, we need to address as we continue to go forward and clean up that phase of the game. And then also, want to see all phases of the team continue to finish things the right way. Was really pleased with the overall efforts, but kind of last taste you have in your mouth is they're back kind of breaking out, and so those the kids who the backups got a chance to play. You want to see them, kind of uphold the standard and finish that game the right way. But kids handled it the right way. Kids are in a great spirit, great mood. You don't have to do a whole lot of motivating or encouraging when it's Wagon Wheel week, and excited to get back home and defend our wheel.
Well, Alan, I'll turn it over to you if you've got any questions. I've got a few of my own from the student media as well, but we'll start with you.
Yeah, just anybody jump out at you on film after watching the Bowling Green tape that maybe you wouldn't think of, obviously?
Obviously, Jay-Sean Polk did offensively. But that being said, his effort on special teams was a bright spot in teams, which I think is really cool, to where his role has grown offensively, Alan, and that jumps out with his touches and his touchdowns and those things that pop. But we had that backed up punt, and he's the gunner, and he's down and makes a fabulous play to help flip the field. He's the guy on the long kickoff return that didn't give up on the play, extra effort play, got the ball to the ground, and our defense goes out and has a great win there in a sudden change situation where they only get a field goal out of that. So really, really pleased with Jay-Sean Polk's effort all around. And again, fans are going to notice the offensive stuff, but his impact that he made on special teams, which is where he made an impact a year ago, he hasn't forgotten his roots, so to speak, and he still takes great pride in that. Richie Carpenter in the back end at our safety position did a great job, stepping up in a big time role in a tough game, to where the things that Bowling Green does to you with shifts, motions, formations, the condensed splits. Coach Leffler, his staff had a really good plan that forced the safeties to come downhill. They need to show up and be willing tacklers. Richie did that. So those are two guys, Alan, that really jumped out to me when we went back and reviewed the tape.
Offensive line wise, you've had a lot of, for various reasons, shift a lot of people around. First of all, where are you at there? And second of all, how do you feel about their play in these first couple weeks?
The deck will keep, Rolodexing. Obviously, Julian went down, and we got his status is very much day to day. But very pleased with the depth that we've been able to develop, the big athletes that we've been able to bring in. So, I feel really good. We got 8 to 10 kids that can play a bunch of various roles that Coach OB has done a great job cross training. And again, against some multiple looks, we knew that they were going to stress us with various fronts, various pressures, which they did. For the second week in a row, we had, a new crew that was in there that was different from week one. And, they did a great job handling things. Again, only one sack that is something that we can easily correct, whether it be with the quarterback getting rid of the ball and the pass pro aspect of it. But to go through, I think we had 93 actual real plays, and the limited number of negative plays that we had, whether they be TFLs or sacks, that number has for 2 weeks in a row stayed very, very low. So pleased with their growth, pleased with their development. It's still very much, though, a day-to-day situation on who the 5 are going to be when we take the field for week 3.
Speaking along the lines of depth, this is 2 weeks in a row now. I guess part of this is because I'm not able to follow the team as closely as usual, just because everything's going on. But the first week you have a tight end I've never heard of, makes a huge play. Touchdown catch that ends up winning the game. Last week, Isaiah Wooden, who I'm not super familiar with, ends up leading you in receiving. I guess just talk about the you're only just into the third year here, and the depth that you've, a lot of depth in a lot of places, but just specifically the skill positions. Kind of talk about how you've been able to funnel so many kids in here that are making an impact so quickly.
I think it goes back to day one when we got here. We put an emphasis on being a developmental program, and that starts with recruiting. And so going out and trusting our evaluation process, identifying those young men, and then getting in here and having a sense of urgency to develop these kids. You know, I don't believe in waiting. I don't think that's fair to your upperclassmen. And from day one, Alan, since you've been covering us, you know, it's always been our intent to go out and win, that there is no moral victory. So there's been a sense of urgency since day one in our Flash Fast family to go identify the best players that can help us win, whether they were the guys that we inherited, the guys that we went and recruited. These kids are our kids, and we're going to coach them up to the best of our ability. We're going to demand the same high standards of them, and we're going to have a sense of urgency to do it, to get better day in and day out. So then when the opportunity comes, we talk to our kids all the time, whether it was Mark Williams a week ago or it was Isaiah Wooden, who we call Helix because he's from Helix High out in California, you know, that when the opportunity comes in all three phases, the spotlight's going to shine. And the opportunity, it flashes, and it's not an open invitation. And when that opportunity comes, either you're trained or you're untrained for the moment. And so what was really cool, like we talked a little bit about the other night, was for the young men who had an opportunity, who, you know, when we necessarily got on the bus, maybe didn't think they were going to play a whole lot, but then the spotlight came, their opportunity came, and they step up and they rose to the moment, you know, and some did, others didn't because they're not trained yet. But now they have a greater sense of urgency that, you know, it's not just a bunch of bald bearded guys running around yelling at them like, hey, we got to go. We got to have a sense of urgency. They now know what collegiate football feels like. And I'm anticipating we're going to have one of our best practices for a bunch of various reasons tomorrow. But one of those big factors being that a lot of guys got to get a taste of what it is to step in between the white lines and the sense of urgency that you have to prepare and improve daily. And I think that starts with our staff. It runs all the way through. Our kids have embodied that, and that is a cultural standard for us. And our golden standard guys are the best at that. They hold that cultural standard that they are never satisfied. They always want to improve. They always want to get better. And you just can't help as a young guy when you come in that's the Flash Fast way. That's what you're going to do. So when your number gets called, you make the plays.
I don't know how much you could predict this, obviously, when you take over, but as you look at where you are now, did you expect to have this big of a stable at the, you know, wide receiver, running back spots, and the quarterback as well? I mean, obviously with what Schlee was able to do the other night.
You know, I've always been very, very confident in our plan, very, very confident in our staff. And you know, when it comes to particularly the offensive skill, you know, we have a fun offense to play in. There's a lot of snaps that are going to happen. There's a lot of footballs to go around. There's a lot of touches to be had. And if you think fast, know fast, excuse me, and do fast things the right way, the way that you're trained and coached to do, and you got some grit about you, you know, you're going to find a way on the field, and you're going to have an opportunity to make some plays. So, you know, I don't think Alan ever sat down and said, hey, we need to be at this point, you know, week 3, year 3 with our depth. However, I trusted our daily process, and I knew if we did it the right way, we would have good talent on our roster. Coach Babers always used to tell me that recruiting's a lot like shaving. If you don't do it daily, you're going to end up looking like a bum. So you got to do a little bit of recruiting each and every single day so that you can get the talent in that you need so that you can win and you can compete in this very, very competitive conference.
How much, just last one on that, just how much do you feel is nailing recruiting? How much of this is development? Obviously, it's a combination of both, but you know, these guys don't make an impact right away unless you they were what you thought they were, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's hard maybe to put a percentage or anything on one or the other. You know, it's kind of like the chicken or the egg, what kind of comes first. But obviously these guys picked their parents the right way and we're given some God-given ability. But I think it's truly a testament to, again, our strength and development staff, the way that our position coaches invest in these young men. And there's a very close-knit bond between our players and our coaches and a level of trust and accountability on both ends. You know, that's a two-way street. So that, again, everyone knows that we're going to give each other our best effort day in and day out. And then if you grab your hard hat and you grab your lunch pail, you know, and you come to work each and every single day with a hunger to improve, then good things are going to happen, you know, and guys have good days and guys have days where they learn some lessons. And just like on the field, there was really good moments that guys are going to take, you know, reps from and confidence from. And there's other moments where they got humbled and there's some lessons that they need to learn, you know, and again, those are all good things. As long as you take them the right way, you take your dose of medicine and you continue to push forward and continue to go ahead. You know, I'm very pleased with where we're at in the growth and development of everyone in our football family here.
Coach, I'll jump in with one, kind of just to switch gears to the Wagon Wheel week. Obviously, this year more than any, a lot of guys who haven't played in this game before. So when does that message kind of get started? Is it when they first arrive at camp and that's one of the tones that you want to set as the first things they've got to get behind, or is it wait until the week of and kind of drive the point home as you guys prepare?
It's a 365, 24/7 deal. So from the moment that we start recruiting our young men to the moment that they commit, that they sign and they step on campus, everyone knows that this thing means more. There's things that we do on a daily basis around the facilities or in between the white lines that put an emphasis on this game. And anyone who says that this is just another week doesn't understand college football. This is what makes college football special. And from the moment I took this job, our number one football goal that we will have each and every single year is to keep the wagon wheel at home. So all the new guys, they understand, they know. And again, the really cool thing is that the old guys who have been around and, ran across that field last year and got their hands on that thing for the first time, that they have told the new guys what it's all about. And we will have more of an in-depth education every single day about what this rivalry means, that they're not only playing obviously for themselves in this 2020 version of the football family, but for everyone who's came before and everyone who's put their hands on that wheel. They're playing for their legacy. That thing is hanging in our locker room right now. It's painted the right colors, and I intend to keep it that way, in a week's time.
Alan, do you have any more questions?
Sure. Yeah. Just real quick on Crumb. He's been probably his biggest critic the last 2 weeks, even though he's put up some pretty nice numbers. Where do you feel he's at right now, as far as how his performance has been and how he can improve and that type of thing?
I mean, I think he's right where he needs to be. And I love how hungry and I love how humble he is. He's a guy that even when he's taking home hardware or getting on watch lists, he's still his hardest critic, which again is a great trait to have. He wants to be coached. He's one of those guys that on every single rep, he wants to know if he did it exactly perfect. And if it's not exactly right, he wants to know how he can do it better. So he knows there's areas to improve upon. But again, the situation that we're in, the numbers that we're putting up, and the winning streak that we've accumulated are the direct result of him. He's the straw that stirs the drink. And all that being said, it's one of the things, and one of his most endearing qualities, I think, to his teammates is that if anyone could have a big head or, get full of themselves, I guess some people could understand that it would be him, but that's not him. That's not how he was raised. He's a Northeast Ohio kid. Again, it's got true grit, and his guys love him, and he works just as hard every single day now as he did when, he was the backup fighting to become the starter. So I love where he's at, and I love the opportunity to coach him each and every single day.
Still me, Dan?
Yes, sir. I've got a couple more, but I'll let you keep firing away.
Okay. Just going into the game that's coming up here, the different role for you guys. I don't know when the last time you've been, however you want to word it, prohibitive favorite, whatever the case may be. Obviously, they're struggling. Just kind of talk about that. Obviously, overlooking them is just a ridiculous thing to say. It's not going to happen. But yet at the same time, I guess you got to guard against maybe looking too much into that looking into too much of that aspect of it, overconfidence, that type of thing. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think complacency is just always a dangerous thing, Alan, and again, because of our daily mindset, that we don't want to look too far ahead. And then again, kind of the outside white noise, whether it be, the spread or however much we're favored or not favored or what the expectations are going into the season or not. Just like we just spoke on with Crumb, I think internally we're all our biggest critics. If you came through the facilities yesterday as we were reviewing that game tape, you didn't know the final outcome. If you didn't know the result, you'd probably be a little bit shocked, by the tone a little bit just because of, what the result was. But again, it's process over result. So we can't look at a potential outcome or be thinking about a potential outcome for this very, very critical rivalry game and become complacent with our daily process. We practiced much, much better last week. The process was better. The result was better. So again, that was a huge lesson from a week ago, and we need to replicate that again. And again, because of it being a rivalry and everything that's at stake and the magnitude of this game for our program, our culture, our recruiting, our fan base here in Northeast Ohio, if you're looking past this thing, you ain't thinking the right way.
3-0 since what? I keep getting the year mixed up. 1955, I believe it is.
58.
58. I keep getting them mixed up. But anyway, really,
It's been a while.
the thought. Yeah. Do you guys talk about that at all? Just opportunities and history and that type of thing?
I think, again, we don't talk about those things until you look back at the end of the year and you got a chance to exhale and really assess what you did. I think right now with how fast everything's happening, to think about we're, 33% of the way through or a third way through the season right now and how fast this thing is coming at you. We're deep in the eye of the storm. And until someone told me, hey, we were 2-0 since 1988, I believe it was, Dan, and now it's going to be, if we're fortunate enough to handle this process the right way, 3-0. Again, I think those results are what a lot of other people think about and worry about, where I'm most concerned about our preparation today, how our kids are taking care of their schoolwork today so that their minds are clear, they're ready to roll, they're focused in for the Tuesday workday that needs to come to make sure that the normal down and distance plan tomorrow is right so we can maximize those reps because we'll never get that day back.
I know they had a running back. I don't know his name off the top of my head. Had a big day. Just kind of talk about him. Talk about what you see with these guys. What makes them dangerous.
Yeah, tailback's talented, very, very talented. He's got some ability to make you miss in the hole. Really been impressed with, looking at their offensive line. They're a young group, but they're much improved. They got a center that's an older kid in the middle that's really holding things down. But I believe 4 out of the 5 guys are either redshirt freshmen or redshirt sophomores, so young guys. But you can tell, marked improvement from the tail end of last year, and even from week 1 to week 2, they had a big jump in improvement, which is a sign of a good football team. Very, very competitive against Ohio a week ago. Played very, very hard, very tough defensively. They seems like they went the junior college route for the 4 starters are JUCO kids that are very active up front. Their boundary safety, number 24, is a very sure tackler, does a really good job. And then you can kind of tell the heart and soul of their defense is their interior linebacker, number 27, Bubba. He makes them go, and he flies sideline to sideline. High effort kid, got a lot of respect for the way that he plays the game. So much improved, and I know they're going to come in here with the right mindset, and it's going to be a fight.
Can you just give us the weekly COVID update as far as just how that's going and how you're dealing with it and where you're at with that?
Yeah, all things are good. All tests came back negative. I guess I can say that because I'm not dispelling any positive cases or anything there. So that's been great. So again, we're 1 test down out of the 3 that we need going into the next game. So we'll test again tomorrow and see where the chips fall on that.
Okay. Obviously got Trickett back last week. A couple guys that didn't come back. And I believe Sherrod's an injury, right?
Correct. Yeah,
That's
he's Achilles. He'll be done for the year.
Okay. You mentioned Sam's day to day. Anybody else you anticipate getting back? I know you probably don't know yet, but a couple other guys have been gone.
Yeah, I think today's pretty critical for that with the amount of time spent in the training room, and I'll probably get a better idea about that, Alan, a little bit later this evening.
Okay. Anybody other than Sam's go down against Bowling Green?
Nothing major. Like there was a couple. There was a Caleb Johns had a shoulder deal, but it was more okay. Let's get some other guys in. AJ Morris from Glenville got to play a little bit, made some production, which was really cool to see, but nothing major.
Okay.
Alan, you got anything else?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, Coach, it's Wagon Wheel week. We'll let you get back to it.
Looking forward to it. Go Flashes.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Alan.